Hi, everyone. We've been hearing a lot about AI. And so what you're going to get in this discussion is leaders from different parts of this ecosystem talking about their successes and also what it has taken to get there, and also things that didn't work. So we're going to get all of those perspectives from leaders in these areas. So we're going to start first with Puneet. So Puneet, uh, from a publisher's perspective, where has AI materially improved how you package and sell your inventory?
Thanks. Great question to start. I think I'll just comment on the topic. You know, when we say who wins in with AI in advertising, I think everyone in the ecosystem will win. When we talk about AI in journalism, that's a debate. But with AI in advertising, I think it's a given outcome, right? At Times Internet, we have been a very early adopter of AI in our ecosystems. Possibly, we may be the first 10 accounts of AI, of OpenAI in the country, right? So about 1.5 years ago, we made our first product. We wanted to call it GPT, but then we couldn't use the term GPT. So we branded it at Talk, right? Now what's at Talk is that you can click on a creative and right there a RAG trained chatbot opens. And you can either talk to the bot on the surface that you are on, which is desktop or mobile, or we can do a click to WhatsApp on that. And we built OTP verification inside that. Every chat that's done on that product gets recorded with consumers' consent. And then we were able to create custom segments on that chat on what people are looking for. So if you were a device manufacturer, we could tell you people looking for screen size or the gaming capabilities, for example, and then create a cohort, export the cohort segment, and then retarget them, right? That was our first product. Then on the creative side, we launched something called GenAds. GenAds is a tech that we have built to make static creatives dynamic. And we have seen that when we do that for our customers, the CTR grows up anywhere between 30 to 150%, right? So that's a big win, right? Using AI, and that's a easier part to do. I think everyone should be doing it, right? There's higher attention on things when they are dynamic, so to say. Then the third one, which we have recently launched on Gen AI, is something called a Times Internet AI Labs. That is where we are creating AI-led video creatives. So if you have a master creative and you need multiple variations, or you need the master creative, we have been able to very successfully do that. In fact, that's what we are also presenting in the expo area for these 2 days. So good success in each of these products, multiple customers, multiple renewals. I think we have seen that. We have also done a lot of work on the non-GI part of AI, not Gen AI part of AI. You know, the usual machine learnings and on our data management platform, for example, we use now LLM-based classification. And there was a point in time where we had 6 months of backlog into if we could classify them into segments and that. Now it's done real time with about 75% lower cost. We have also built a brand safety framework using AI. So in every part of the ecosystem, I think we are bringing in AI to help fasten things and to improve delivery for our partners.
That's really great. Thanks. That's really great. Thank you for providing those successes, examples of those. Maybe now we'll get some perspective from Niti. So, Niti, where has AI improved how you optimize campaigns and how you work with brands and publishers?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. I think AI is kind of almost all pervasive now. Cannot remember any meetings or discussions that we've had where some element of AI doesn't come in, right? So we heard, Puneet talk through all of the products that they've built, which drive efficiency, which, help advertisers scale and just, are faster products. So it's a very similar space that agencies are in, right? As brand custodians, I think clients and advertisers look at us to bring, a layer that's brand first vis-a-vis being necessarily only publisher first. and where do the two marry best, right? So I think when it comes to AI, there are three things that at Spark Foundry and the Publicis group as a whole that we are focusing on. One of the most critical things is the AI tools that we build, right? Or the outputs that we generate are only as good as the input that goes into it. So I don't know how many of you in this room have run searches on a Gemini or Chat GPT and got very, very generic outputs, right? Especially in a business such as ours where numbers are very important, whether it's, the rate or whether it's the budget that, clients are looking at, being specific is really, really important. All marketers, and rightly so, are pushing back on not looking at just media metrics, but looking at it from a business outcome, right? Therefore, the data spine that rests under the AI is very important. So we've actually invested and we've partnered with a lot of data providers and publisher partners, right, to give us data. So the Publicis group has created a product called Connected Identity, which hosts deterministic data across various product categories, across media, content, consumption, right? So AI builds on that to actually give brands insight into who's the right publisher or partner to work with. So it's kind of dual there. So the publishers provide us the data spine because they've got direct access to a lot of the data. Plus, it helps us connect brands to better, choices in terms of publishers and execution. The second pillar to any brand plan, right, or any media plan is getting the audiences right. So there's again a lot of product building that we've done in that space. So I'll give you an example of a brand that my agency handles, right? So Eno, I'm sure all of you know the antacid, right? So there's we had to identify the right cohorts. So Buzz AI is again a proprietary tool that we've built which helps gather insights across different, data sources. So it could be a Mintel, which is, syndicated. It could be something like a TGI or, data that's available in terms of digital footprints that people leave and get very clear cohorts. So through this, Eno identified a cohort called night owls. Because anyone who's eating at night, so the youngsters eat at night, right? Because you're whether up gaming or whatever. And if you eat at night, you get acidity, right? So AI actually helped us, and the great part of it was the speed, right? Where it would have taken 2 weeks for, planners to sit or brainstorm with publishers and come out. This was done in, I think, 48 hours or something, right? So I think that was fabulous. And the third one, so there's the data spine, there's audiences, and the third most critical one is quick execution. I think that's one very immediate benefit and it helps drive effectiveness and efficiency. So again, tools are being built to make sure we drive efficiency across different publishers, different partners. So how can you drive CPMs lower rather than doing it manually? A lot of AI tools are now being used to do that, right? So it saves time and it helps deliver the outputs much faster to our clients. Yeah.
Deepak, HDFC is both a retail media network as well as a brand. How has AI been with on both perspectives from your side?
I'll take up the brand part first. And I work obviously with a lot of ad sales folks. And there's one aspect which I would want to talk about, which is how do you make both sides succeed, the brand and the ad sales, publisher, the network, what have you, right? Let me give you an example. So how AI is now changing the game, right, for someone who trying to find success on both sides. So typically, like if you apply for a credit card today or try to open an account with a bank today, it's very simple process now. You put your Aadhaar in, right? You put your Aadhaar in and everything starts there and it kind of ends there these days with banking. But you will notice the government backend of Aadhaar will sometimes not send you an OTP. It'll like take a bunch of time or never come at all, right? That happens a lot. Imagine you have a lot of inventory bot which optimized for conversions where the funnel passes through that one very critical point, right? So then there's a lot of back and forth across brands in finance that I know where you say, no, the inventory was bad, the deal was bad, the placement was bad, the creative was bad. Sometimes it is the logistics equivalent of banking or finance, which is KYC, identity, the ability to verify whether the customer is genuine, right? A similar example will be in e-commerce, you buy something through an ad, but the delivery just does not happen, right? It's similar here. So the ad spend is then wasted in that case. So what do you do? How do you monitor this? Obviously, people have armies sitting and monitoring the funnel, monitoring the journey, the digital journey, and so on and so forth. But you have to go and look at it. You have to say, okay, what is the ratio? Log into Aadhaar authentication. It's never really real-time monitorable. It is never possible to turn off your inventory or pause your campaign. But now it's possible. I'll give you an example. So what we do now is we simply have our web analytics. It has the funnel mapped in. It's mapped to a WhatsApp bot. OpenClaw, 6 weeks, but already showing value, right? So what happens is the bot will read through your funnel every minute and it will alert you on your WhatsApp saying, boss, the funnel is now completely ruined because Aadhaar OTP is not going through. Immediately, the WhatsApp will go to the marketer who is responsible for the outcome of that campaign. Immediately, he'll forward the WhatsApp back to the agency and they'll just hit pause. The savings at hundreds of crores of spends in a year is about 10%. So that's fairly sizable. So it's a very good agentic use case we are seeing where, we are able to succeed on both sides, as a brand as well and on the ad spend as well. So I think I want to see more of this. I think that we should go more on this side, where value can be generated by using AI, not just to do creative, but to do ROI optimization.
Well, thanks for all those perspectives. I'm going to have a round of open questions. One thing that we didn't hear when we got examples of successes, where did it not work for you? And it's open to each of you. What didn't work?
So I can go first, yeah. So I think it's related to the first point that I made, right? If the input, especially if you're looking at getting things like insights or creatives and so on, right? Unless the input is good, it could be as basic as the prompt or the data, right? There, the outputs then are not need significant human intervention to make it usable, right? So there, I think to some extent, AI defeats its purpose. The second place, there's so much that we are reading about AI and AI will do this and do that. Yesterday, I saw a table, which is, the progress of AI and robotics together. And in, I think, some 20 years or so, AI and robotics together will also take care of the emotional needs of humans, right? So that's where we're heading. But very often, the ecosystem doesn't tie itself together, because whether there are walled gardens or whether, even between AI platforms or what one is trying to get, workflows done, they don't talk to each other, right? So I think then the loop breaks, then again you're coming back to human intervention or Excel sheets and so on. So I think that's something that we've experienced. It's probably a life cycle thing, but hopefully we'll get there.
Oh, thank you. What about you, Puneet? Have you experienced?
I think we've been blessed that most things have worked, but one area where it needs more work, I would say, is we embarked on a project to do ad slot personalization 1:1. Usually placements are fixed on a page, and we said we'll define the placement where the likelihood of a consumer clicking is the highest. So that project is taking more time than what we thought it will, but I would not call it that it has not worked. It just needs more work to be successful.
I think we are experiencing that, I think, large brand-led sort of vision around campaigns is not translated very well through AI. Hyper-personalization, definitely yes. But if it's brand, if it is a new product launch, if it is something that is showcasing the value as opposed to just the convenience, I think we still will depend on a lot of content through the traditional way. I think AI is great for hyper-personalization, but brand, I think the jury is out as far as I think.
Do you have any thoughts on what it would take to make it work? Like, I know you gave some examples, Niti, that, systems were not there, data was not there. Do you have any thoughts? It's open to each of
A lot
you.
of these areas just need more data, right? So for example, in our project, unless we have a lot of data on how that user journey is moving in, that outcome will not be good, right? So stuff like when it comes to personalization of either content or advertising, in especially the slots that I talked about, right? It's a longish exercise of data, refining data, looking at your outcomes, going back to the drawing board to refigure it out. I think that's one area. The cleanliness of data and the quantum of data both are important to get into a good learning life cycle. Specifically, if you're not doing Gen AI and looking at other parts of AI in your product.
How to make it work? I think I will build on what you said. So AI is not about, like I said, if you have a brand campaign, it's a one-off campaign, don't look at AI. I mean, I think there's enough talent out there. But if it's a flywheel, right? If it's a feedback loop, that just keeps on improving ROI. That the flywheel part is where I think the value is, right? Put your content out there, put your creative out there, put your proposition out there, put your digital experience out there, and see whether it is working or not working, and then iterate it through AI. I think that is one thing that is, just was built for AI, right? Is my view. And then second part is that this flywheel is not actually coding, it is not creative. It is an operating model, it is a culture that you create in your organization. So these are mechanisms, these are stand-ups, these are meetings, these are formats, these are KPIs that you need to build to get value out of AI. Just getting an agency and getting a great bunch of coders is not going to get you value. Creating this culture and to leverage this flywheel takes more than that. It requires a bit of a change management job, which I think people should focus on as well.
You touched upon something I was going to ask. Have there been challenges in making it work because of adoption or that side? Because, many times we look at it as just technology, but it's people who are going to use it. So.
Yeah, so I think that would be one thing that I'd probably call out. I think, and Deepak mentioned change management, right? So I think driving it top to bottom, there is a little bit of fear which is there. That's real, yeah. So dealing with that and making people understand it's this and AI. It's not this or AI, right? So use it where it's best. So the education and kind of learning it and understanding the full potential of it, I think that's definitely a journey that's needed. Yeah.
I think mindset change is the biggest change that takes time, right? We've done a lot of work. In fact, for the last 6 months now, we have a recurring AI hackathon that happens every month, and winners get 10 lakh rupees. It's not a small prize, right? So think of it like I always get reminded of that Lakshman Sylvania campaign, right? Pure ghar ke badal dalunga. You have to change the mindset of every employee in the organization, and it needs an effort of that kind. It has to start from the leadership. So can I sit and vibe code a product in 2 days and then tell my team? And vibe coding doesn't need tech skills, right? Because now tech is the vibe coder, really. The AI is doing it. But if you can give the business requirement, code something out and show your team that this can be done, right? It's a positive rub-off. It has to start from the top, not just talking, but implementing, rewarding, and making sure that it's getting through. Because AI that we are seeing today, I always call it the infant AI. It's the infancy of AI. And what it can do when it becomes a teenager and an adult, if you don't start to love that AI infant right now, you'll always be worried of the AI teenager that comes up, right? It's time to fall in love with that AI kid.
Deepak, do you have anything you wanted to add to this?
Just experiment, get started today, and start small.
So that's a great time to wrap up. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for all your perspectives. And
Thank you.